Channel. I'm super excited about today's video because I have someone who's very special and someone who's become a mentor to me, honestly. Stephanie McCoy from Bold Line Beauty.
Hey, Gabby.
Hi, Steph. Thank you so much for coming and joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I can't wait till we get into it.
Yeah, of magazine and everything, but maybe briefly, if you could kind of explain to everybody what Bold Line Beauty is, and this way they know what we're about to talk about.
Sure. So, Bold Blind Beauty is a website. It was initially designed to empower blind and low vision women to help them to become more confident and claim their power. In view of 2020 being a year of 2020, and we sort of wanted to, what's the word I'm looking for? 2020 vision. We made it 2020 year of vision, and we wanted to introduce men to Bold Blind Beauty. So for our women's segments, we feature women once a month on Women on the Move. And for 2020 Year of Vision, we introduced men and we called them Men in Motion. So, and what was cool about it, we liked the wordplay.
Mhm.
Men in Motion, we wanted them to submit videos to us. So videos, of course, move and, just that whole play on words thing. But I think as the years have gone on and the way the site has evolved, um, we wanted to, be more inclusive while still understanding that the empowerment of girls and women is central to the messaging on Bold Blind Beauty. So I hope that answers your question.
Of course, yeah. So thank you for that, by the way.
You're
Um,
welcome.
I was so happy because I think it was it in June that I was able to be a part of the magazine, and the past, let's see, June, August, I don't even know. It's been like almost 5 months that I've been getting to know you, and now I'm a contributor on Bold Blind Beauty, which is pretty cool. So I really just wanted to chat with Steph, and have a conversation about just what it means for you, basically, to really make sure that for us, especially as blind women, women with low vision, what that really means for you, for us to have to be empowered and spread that to other people.
Sure. For me, it's everything. When I started losing my sight,
Mm-hmm.
and for everybody, the journey is different, but on a personal level for me, when I began going through it, number one, I never thought that it would happen. But nobody really was there to help guide me through the process. And as I was going to my retina specialist, my ophthalmologist, optometrist, and all of these different doctors I was seeing that were trying to help um, restore my sight, um, they were able to help me from a medical standpoint, but
Mm-hmm.
it was the emotional and the psychological standpoint, I think, that was the hardest for me to get over.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Once I received that final diagnosis that there was nothing more that could be done, I remember sitting there and not really feeling anything. I didn't respond at all. And it wasn't until a few days later that it sort of hit me. It took some time, but
Yeah.
I felt really alone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, my friends and family, they tried to help, but they couldn't understand, what I was going through.
Right. Yeah.
It just, I thought because of that, and because once I got to the point where I met other blind people and I began working within the blind community
Mhm.
and advocating on our behalf. That was when I decided that I needed to, well, have a voice for myself, number one, but then help others to also share their voice. And the reason why I
Mhm.
chose the name Bold Blind Beauty was very intentional. I thought, we never see beauty and blindness sort of uh, identified like as being sort of the same. And I
Right.
thought, as blind women specifically, when we leave our house every day, we have to be bold. I mean, that is bold, right?
You and I were
Um,
just in this conversation, literally.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't see, or some of us have a diminished sight,
Mhm.
and we have to rely on just being on guard and being aware and self-aware no matter what we're doing from the moment we leave our house until the moment we come home and go to bed at night. And that takes a certain amount of courage and boldness. And I thought, bold, blind, because I wanted to embrace the word blind. I wanted to embrace blindness. I wanted to change the way we perceive blindness. The word has such and I don't think it's the word per se. I think it's the way we react to the word,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
know, the negative connotation. And I just wanted to make it more positive. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's, something that I'm always talking to my best friends about is like, a lot of the time people that are in our circle or, family members will say, I understand these struggles, but in reality, it's like they really don't, because they are not dealing with on a day-to-day basis, as I was mentioning to you the other day, it's like we are always trying to make sure we're staying organized and we're making sure that we're alert for everything. And it just takes us more time to prepare for everything and to really understand, not understand, but, kind of adjust to certain things. And I like that you spoke about your journey and when you were losing your sight and what that meant to you. So, I mean, you can, I kind of want you to take the lead here and you can just talk about whatever you feel like talking about. I mean, I have some guideline questions.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you and I have talked at great length about a number of topics that I think are very important to our community. I mean, we talk
Mm-hmm.
about beauty. We talk about what beauty means from a blindness and low vision perspective, and about how blind people feel about beauty. And I've always felt that beauty was so much more than just appearance. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, real beauty resides deep inside a person's character. I also believe that it can be, found in many, many things around us. Like, for example, I'll never forget one morning when I was waiting for my paratransit ride to work. I was listening to music, in my earbuds on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I would just listen to music and just, sing the words and bebop around stuff, but not really pay
Yeah.
attention to the actual music piece. And for some reason
Mm-hmm.
that morning, something happened and I was able to identify each individual instrument, and particularly the violin. Because
Yeah.
I never really paid much attention to it before. I mean, I appreciated music, I always have, but never really appreciated the beauty of the violin. And
Right.
now, whenever I'm listening to a song and I can hear the violin in it, even though it's being played in a, what is it, like an ensemble where there's a number of
Mm-hmm.
different instruments being played, and I can pick that out, it just feels like magic to me. And I remember thinking, wow, this is my superpower. I can listen to music
Right.
now and I can hear all these individual pieces. And I think to some degree, maybe the sight loss played into that because I don't have with reduced vision, I no longer have the distractions of seeing everything clearly around me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. I'm really happy you mentioned that because it's something that I think about all the time. I mean, for people that don't know, like we're always sending each other audio messages about self-care and just like these really deep conversations that not a lot of people really have or pay attention to. And I like that you mentioned, something that I really have grown to understand about being blind is just the fact that you do get to appreciate things differently. You do get to really embrace other things and not have, to pay attention to the visual cues, the visual aspects of what is around us. And I think that that's something that whenever I'm with family and I am looking at something the way I would, it's so different to them because they don't see it that way. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
look at it and they're like, "Oh, that's nice," because they can see it and they have those visual things to pick up on. But for me, it's like, and I'm sure you can probably agree with this, but for us, I should say, it's different when you can just see things in the way you want to see them, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I think to some degree there's a deeper appreciation for, the other senses that I never really paid attention to
Right.
when I could see. When my vision was corrected to 20/20, I never really thought about textures and, all these different things that are so much more meaningful to me now.
Hmm.
You know, there's a lot of things I miss. I miss not being able to see the faces of my children, my
Hmm.
grandchildren, not being able to fix things at home like I used to be, like sort of a handyman
Hmm.
type person and measure things, have like a regular tape measure and measure it out and center and mark things and be able to
Hmm.
hang up stuff and center it and all that kind of stuff. You know, that stuff has changed, but to some degree, even though there was that sense of loss, I feel like I have gained so much more. Um, you know, like with the conversations that you and I have,
Hmm.
or conversations I have with others that, you know, we talk about things on a deeper level, a more meaningful level, and it's about gratitude and appreciation for everything that we have, and not so much about, what we've lost.
Right. I think that that's definitely something lately for me that I've really been standing by is that for me adjusting to when I lost my sight because I lost it really young. I was still a baby, and so losing my sight at such an early age, it's so much different versus when you lose it later on in life and you've had your vision for so long and you've gotten to see the world and you've gotten to, you know, enjoy those things. And I think I wasn't born blind, but I did lose it when I was 18 months old. And I still, like you said, I don't remember what my mom's face looks like. I don't know what colors look like. And I think for us, when we do have these deeper, more meaningful conversations, it's because we are so much more in tune with just kind of everything, our surroundings, our just the way that we view life in our minds. And I think that that's something that I like that you mentioned that. So
Yeah. And another thing, to your point, and this is something I talk about quite a bit, and it has to
hmm.
do with respect and respecting each person's journey. A lot of
Right.
people will ask me, well, what's it like to be totally blind or what's it like to be blind? And I can only give the answer from my perspective and my
Yeah,
journey and what it's like for me, because you and I both know that blindness is a vast spectrum. Like
yeah,
anything else, it's not totally a person who can't see versus a person who can see perfect 20/20 vision. It's a range and it's very, very wide, and it's different for everybody. And just because two people might have the same eye condition, it doesn't mean that they're going to see the same way. So what
hmm
I tell people is, while I am part of the blind community and I am an advocate, for people who are blind or living with low vision, I can't speak for everyone. And I respect that, and I respect the journey of my totally blind friends versus my friends that are like me and the anywhere in between, because
yeah,
it's all different. It's all
yeah.
different.
And basically, I mean, I say those things to here on YouTube whenever I'm having conversations with other people. I always say, like, when I have my friends on, some of them have low vision, others are completely blind. And so I always say, it's like, yeah, we all can sit here, have a conversation, agree with each other, and share our opinions on whatever. But, when it comes down to how we deal with different things in our lives, how we approach certain situations, we all address those in so many different ways. And I think it's important to allow people to, just to teach other people that don't know, because I think a lot of people think that all blind people do the same thing and we all act the same way. And it's like you said, it is such a spectrum, and it's not, it's, I agree. It's everything is, at least in this community, nobody has the same kind of way of doing something, which I think really brings more of a nice, you know, turn, like, twist into it. So yeah.